students, I welcome you all back to this part number 2 of the chapter The Thief's Story. Students, I am Shampanchal from Takshila Model Senior Secondary School, and let us now take a recapitulation of part number 1. Students, I will not go into details. I will just take the last part of the chapter in which we read that it was Hari Singh the thief who decided to steal the money from his employer, Anil. Students, Hari Singh decided to steal that money. He also gave the reasons. In the first place, that Anil would just go out and spend all the money on his friends. He would just simply waste this money. And in the second place, he thought that it was Anil who did not pay him anything in return for the work he did for him. So students, here it is in the part number 2 of this chapter. We will come to know more about this chapter. So let us begin. As usual, I have written the points to be discussed. We will discuss these 4 points. In the previous part of this chapter, we had 4 points that we discussed. Again, we have 4 points, and this is the vocabulary section, and characters we have already discussed. So students, let us now move on to the explanation of point number 1, that is Hari Singh's act of stealing the money. So students, it is the time of night. Anil is sleeping, and Hari Singh just sits up and tries to examine the situation. He just takes a look at Anil, who is just sleeping on the bed beside him, near him, and the night is very pleasant. It's a very beautiful night. The moon is lit up there in the sky, and the beams of the moon are just falling onto Anil's bed. So here the thief Hari Singh, who is just sitting on the floor, he's just making his calculations. He's just thinking how he can just execute this whole plan. He now just makes the calculation and comes to the conclusion that if he takes the money and runs away, he can catch the 10:30 train to Lucknow. So thinking this, he just makes up his mind. He stands up and moves on to the Anil's bed. He finds that Anil is still sleeping. His face is absolutely clear and unlined. It shows that Anil is sleeping soundly. So now Hari Singh just slides his hand under the mattress. Slide is the second form of slide. So I am narrating this story in present tense, right? And this story is actually written in past tense in the book. So he just slides his hand under the mattress and tries to search for the notes. He finds the notes and he takes them out quite carefully without making a sound. But when he is just doing this, Anil, who is sleeping, all of a sudden takes a sigh in his sleep, and he turns on his side towards Hari Singh. Hari Singh is startled. Startled here means frightened. Startled here means frightened. So Hari Singh the thief is startled, and he draws the money out and crawls out of the room. Crawls here means to kneel out of the room. He just moves out of the room very quickly. Students, when he is on the road, he starts running, and he still has the bundle of notes at his waist, held by the string of his pyjamas. All of a sudden, he slows down to a walk and starts counting the money. He counts the money and finds that it is 600 rupees, all the notes in 50s. Students, he makes his way straight to the railway station. When he reaches the railway station, he does not stop at the ticket window, because all throughout his life he has never bought a ticket, and he has never bothered to buy one. And that is why he dashes off straight to the platform. Dashes off here means runs away straight to the platform. When he's at the platform, he finds that the train is ready to leave. He finds that the train has not yet picked up the speed. If he wants, he can just enter in one of the bogies of the train. But there is something that stops him. There is something that forces him not to take the train. And what is this? So here we come over to the explanation of point number 2, his hesitation to take the train. So students, what is that stops him from taking the train? There is something. When he is just contemplating over whole situation in which he is in, he finds the train is left. And he finds that he is alone at the deserted platform. Deserted here means alone, secluded. So he finds himself alone at the deserted platform. He leaves the platform and moves through the bazaar. He is just thinking about what he has done. He has left his train. He has missed his train. He has nowhere to go. He has no idea where he should go. He does not have friends either. He believes that friends are more trouble than hell. Then there comes the idea of staying somewhere like at some hotel near the station, but he neglects this idea. He believes that if he stays at some of the hotels near the railway station, he might make the people curious about him. Curious here means the people might take interest in him. Who is he? Where has he come from? And why is he looking so perplexed, so confused, so troubled? So that is why he did not choose even the small hotels near the platform, near the railway station. So students, it is here we come to know that he starts pondering, he starts thinking about his individual study that he has made over many years, over the years as a thief. Here we come to know, here we come over to the explanation of point number 3, the study of, is a study of man's faces. So students, here he just starts thinking about how actually people when they are robbed feel. He says that when a greedy person is robbed, he shows fear. When a rich man is robbed, he shows anger. And when a poor man is robbed, he shows acceptance. Then he starts thinking about his employer, Anil. He believes that Anil's face, when he discovers that he has been robbed, will show what? Will show a touch of sadness. He will be sad. About what? Not for the loss of money, but for the loss of trust. So here we come to know that the boy Hari Singh, the thief boy who has just stolen the money of his employer and he has run away, and still there is some light in his heart, there is some spark of goodness in him that has stopped him from taking the train, and he is still not far away from his employer, Anil. And it is in the later part of the chapter we'll come to know that Anil makes up his mind, Hari Singh makes up his mind and he goes back to his employer Anil. So students, when he's thinking about this, when he's just discussing about his studies that he has made over the man's faces, how they actually look when they are robbed, he finds that he is in a Maidan. He sees a bench, an unoccupied bench there, and he sits there. He then thinks about his prospect of getting education. He starts thinking about that now he does not have to make tea for Anil. He does not have to cook meal for him. He does not have to go to bazaar and buy day's supplies. He does not even have to learn to read and write. Learn to write whole sentences, add numbers and all. All of a sudden he realizes that he has forgotten everything in the excitement of theft, in the excitement of stealing the money. So students, here we come to know, here we come on to the explanation of point number 4, his realizations against the consequences of theft. So what are his realizations against the consequences of theft? So he comes to know if he just steals this money and runs away with it, he will just lose an opportunity to become a big man, a respected man. He says that it is quite easy to steal the money and it is much easier to be caught, but it is not easy to learn to read and write and to become a very big man, a respected man. He says that if he gets an opportunity to learn to read and write, and if he is able to be an educated man, he can earn for himself more than these few hundred rupees. So he now just comes to the conclusion that this bundle of notes is much is not more important than the prospect of education, than the education that he was receiving at Anil's house. So students, the thief boy, a 15-year-old boy, gives more value to education than money. He knows that education will help him become a good man, become a big man, and that he will have all the things that he wants. And these things can be achieved, these things can be gained with the help of education only. So, giving priority to education, he just changes his mind. So students, the boy stands from the bench and he starts moving towards this clock tower because it is drizzling. He will come to know about the circumstances in which he is in. Actually, it is the early November and the night is quite chilly, and the other trouble that is added to his worries is that it starts drizzling. This drizzle adds to his discomfort, and in order to protect himself, in order to protect the money that he's having with him, he just makes his way straight to the clock tower. He thinks of taking a shelter under the clock tower. So he just goes there and stands below the clock tower, and he takes a look at the clock tower and he finds that it is already midnight. So students, it is when this the thief boy Hari Singh decides that he should run back to his employer Anil, because he is the only person whom he knows in this town, and he is the only person with whose kind help he can materialize his dreams. And though it is not clearly given in this chapter what is the dream of this boy, but we can just infer from the text that the boy's dream is to become a really big man, an educated and a respected man. So thinking, giving it a lot of consideration, he just moves back to Anil. When he goes back to him, he finds that Anil is still sleeping. He puts the money back from where he has, he puts the money back from where he has drawn it away. Students, here Hari Singh tells that it is quite difficult to put the money back which you have once taken away, especially putting it right there without being detected. So students, it is in the morning we come to know that the thief boy does not wake up before his employer, and it is Anil, his employer, who just offers him a tea, and he also gives him a 50 rupee note. He tells Hari Singh that from now onwards he will start paying him. This brings a smile on Hari Singh's face. His spirits rise, and Hari Singh the thief smiles in his most appealing way. And it is at the end of this chapter we come to know that this smile is not a fake smile. This smile has come on its own. So, students, this chapter here now comes to an end. One more thing I have just uh, forgotten to tell you. When Anil gives a 50 rupee note to Hari Singh, when Hari Singh grabs this note, he finds that the note is still wet. It is still damp from the last night's rain. And Hari Singh here comes to know that Anil knows the whole episode that took place at night. Still, Anil does not speak anything, nor his lips, neither his lips nor his eyes speak anything. It seems that Anil has forgiven the thief boy Anil. It is because Anil knows that Hari Singh has made his way back to him. He knows that goodness has made him come back to Anil, and he respects this goodness. He knows that if a person is given a chance, he will definitely come onto the right path. And here, Anil just sees a glimpse of goodness in his eyes. And that is why he just gives Hari Singh a chance to grow, to thrive. So students, with this chapter comes to an end. And I again suggest you to go through the text, read it thoroughly, learn all the word meanings, and once you have just discussed the chapter, I would like you to read the questions, the textual questions, and try to give their answers by writing on your own without taking the help from anywhere else. Once you have attempted the question answers on your own, then you can take the help from some other book or from other source where you can find the answers. Then match your answers, and this way you will prepare yourself for better results. So students, very soon I'll be back with a new chapter. Till then, stay home, stay happy. Thank you.